Hi, and welcome to another episode of Walleye Chronicles. This week I have a hometown hero for me, Mr. Joe Shead. He is an outdoor writer. He is the man behind Shed Hunting. So sit back, everybody, and enjoy the one and the only Mr. Joe Shead. This week I have a sports writer, an author, a guide, and a whole bunch of other things with me. Mr. Joe Shead is joining me on this week's Walleye Chronicles. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
Awesome. So you have done a little bit of everything.
Oh, I guess so.
You have lived every little boy's dream. You've gone to Alaska and you fished in Alaska. You became a sports writer or outdoor writer. You're currently a guide as well. So you're kind of like you're living every boy's childhood dreams.
Yeah, I guess I got kind of the Peter Pan syndrome, maybe. I don't know.
So how'd you get started?
Oh, geez. Well, I guess I always was kind of a writer. Like I always did writing in school when I was younger, and just I always had my nose in a book or outdoor magazines. I started subscribing to outdoor magazines when I was like 10 with my birthday money, and just kind of always liked reading and writing about the outdoors. I remember writing these dramatic stories about catching like bluegills and stuff like I was in grade school. But just kind of always had the bug for it, and just kind of ended up going into journalism, and that was kind of the start of it, I guess.
So what was your early? So a little side story. Me and Joe are in the same high school class. So if that's kind of a little different than normal. So I know a little more about Joe than normal. So what was growing up in Berlin, Wisconsin that attracted you to the outdoors?
Well, we were lucky because my family has a place on Pearl Lake over in Red Granite, about 10 miles away. So we were over there all the time, fishing off the dock and stuff. So, which is crazy because like I'd never fished Lake Winnebago, half hour away. I'd never fished Winnebago until I was like in college because like why would you go anywhere but the lake that we had a cabin on?
Right.
It was 10 minutes from home. So my parents weren't really big into fishing, but we had the cabin and that gave us the opportunity. So like, we'd get up 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't get up, I can't get out of bed now, in the mornings, but to fish at 5 o'clock in the morning, man, I'd be out there on the dock, as 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid,
That's awesome. So going through high school, was it kind of always just you had to be in the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, I love to hunt and fish. My dad was a big duck hunter and deer hunter too. So I grew up with that, but just love to be outside, and we grew up. There's some DNR land right by my parents' house, so we were always playing out in the woods and stuff like that. So just loved hunting and fishing, and just kind of grew up with it. So and just stuck with it.
Yeah, you did have their childhood home was a pretty awesome location.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you remember
So
my truck in high school had a fishing is my mission bug shield on the front of it my parents got for me.
yeah. Always one of the outdoors. You even end up being an accomplished swimmer as well. Is that from your love of fishing, or is that just did you want to be a fish? Is that why you love swimming so much?
I don't know, man. Like my life has always revolved around water, I guess. But yeah, I did swimming for a long time, and it was cool. It opened up a lot of doors. I mean, it was. Sometimes I look back and I think about it, like morning practice, afternoon practice, swim meets on the weekends. There's a lot of missed opportunities when I could have been fishing, but it's like, oh well.
That's funny. So what took you to Alaska?
Well, it was kind of a cool story. So I went to college at Stevens Point, which is a real big natural resources school. A lot of people go there to be foresters or fisheries biologists, wildlife biologists. I went there for journalism, but I took a lot of outdoor classes because that's what I was interested in. And so many of my friends got these cool internships, like where they're spending their summer in Alaska. And then the recession of '08 hit, and I got laid off from my job. And I'm like, this is my chance. Like, I'm gonna go to Alaska. And a guy that I worked with, he and I were both in the same boat. No mortgage, no girlfriend, no wife, nothing tying us down. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to Alaska. And I asked if he wanted to go, and he's like, yeah, maybe. And then he came over to my apartment one day, and I'd cleaned everything out. The landlord was going to let me keep my garage, but I was like, I'm moving out. I'm just going to throw everything in my garage and just leave. And he decided to join me, which is great because then we could split gas. And we didn't know if we were gonna just go for like a couple of weeks and just tour around, or just spend the summer. And he'd gone to high school with a gal that was living up there, so we went and visited her, and then started knocking on doors, and we ended up getting jobs guiding rafting trips down the Kenai River. And so, we'd work, rafting every day and seeing the bears, and then we'd salmon fish like every night, and it was just a blast. And we ended up doing that 3 summers in a row.
Wow. Did you have any training prior to going up there and just jumping on rafting and just
it's like it was funny because we got there like in June, so like the season had already started for a few weeks, and our boss was basically going to let.
Are you tired of the same old plastic patterns and colors? Well, check out lurelipstick.com. You'll find the best hand-painted infused plastics on the market. And the best part, they're made right here in Michigan. New for this year, the Pro Swimmer and Jerk Shad model to go along with the world-famous Split Tail series. Lure Lipstick also has a wide variety of attractants in wax and liquids. And remember, they're the home of the famous perch jelly. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, Lure Lipstick. Get hit on.
He had a couple of people working for him who were younger kids. And he was basically going to let them go. So they didn't know it, but they took us down the river one day. They didn't know it. They were training in the replacements one day, which was kind of a uncool thing to do, but that's what they did. And what was crazy about being a rafting guide in Alaska is like, you tell anybody else that and they'd be like, oh my God, that's so cool. Everybody down there in Alaska, up there, I guess, look down their nose at you. Cause like, if you weren't a fishing guide, you weren't cool. It's like, oh, you're a rafting guide. And the coup de grace of this was at the beginning of the season, one of the restaurants on the river would have a guides dinner. They would have all the guides come, and it was kind of like hey, remember, we gave you a free meal, so when your customers ask, where's a good place to eat, don't forget about us. And so all the guides, all the rafting guides and the fishing guides are showing up at this dinner. And we showed up late, and there's like 50 people up front. They're getting ready to take the group picture, and somebody says, hey, there's 3 more guides coming. And somebody says, oh, they're just rafting guides. And they literally took the picture as we were walking up on the steps. It's like, geez, thanks, So we weren't cool.
It was the getting in point. So what, so from Alaska, how did you end up in the writing world? Was it a thing where you transitioned right into there? Did you get a job right away writing, or did you kind of have to bang around with actual real jobs for a little bit while you?
So the writing thing was straight out of college. My first job straight out of college was actually working for a coin collecting magazine, which I had no interest in. It's just the coins I collected every other Friday, But that was at a company up in Iola, and they owned Deer and Deer Hunting magazine. I had an internship at Deer and Deer Hunting, and then when I graduated from college, I got a job at the coin collecting magazine, and my goal was to try to slide over to the Deer Hunting magazine as soon as we got an opening. And it took 2 years, and then I was able to get in with the Deer Hunting magazine. And then I left there. I was only there for about 4 years, and I left and moved up north, near where I am now, the Duluth Superior area, and got a job there working at a fishing map company. And then I was there for a while, and then that recession of 2008 hit, and they kind of ran out of money, and then we've kind of been a bum ever since 2008.
So what makes you a freelance writer? Just that you just simply write for multiple different magazines? Kind of give us a runaround what the life is of an outdoor writer.
Yeah, so it's getting a lot harder with AI these days, but yeah, I just write for various publications. Like, I'm not beholden to any one place. So I still write for Deer and Deer Hunting on occasion, where I used to work. Still know the guys that work there, but I write quite a bit for outdoor news in Minnesota and Wisconsin Outdoor News in Wisconsin too. But other than that, I write for like Archery Trade Association, Sports Illustrated, Fur Fishing Game sometimes. Just whatever comes to mind. And I should probably branch out more, but I don't know, just kind of keeps you busy, and there's other stuff going on too.
So your style of writing is different to me. That's different. It's kind of it's an old school way of writing. It's almost like I'm reading a Hemingway, Every time I read about you talking about, how to bait a minnow or something on those lines, you're very in depth of your choice of words. Where did you get that repertoire from?
Okay, well, thanks, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of a word nerd, I guess. It's funny you say that because my editor, Sports Illustrated, he takes. Now I'm like so old school, and maybe that's part of it. I'm an old school kind of guy. Like, you know how you always have to have your kids program your electronics for you because they know and you don't. Like that would be like the epitome
Right.
of me. Like I'm so far behind technology wise, but my editor at Sports Illustrated, he literally takes my stories I send in and runs it through Chat GPT to get better idea of structure and style and stuff like that. And I think they suggest minor edits, but he's gone in and said, write me something in Joe Shead style. And the stuff that spits out is like, I'm like, man, I wish I could write that good. It spits it out in like 5 seconds, like really descriptive and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I just, I read a lot when I was younger. I still read a lot. One of my favorite authors is Gordon McQuarrie, who was a big duck hunting author from Superior, Wisconsin, but wrote a bunch of fishing stuff too. And just, I think you kind of pick up styles from people that you read over the years and kind of get your own style too. But I don't know. It's just what comes out, I guess.
Right. It's funny because I feel like you could give me an excerpt from a bunch of people and I would always be able to pick you out of the group.
Okay.
And I mean,
cool.
maybe it's an AI thing or how things get done nowadays that's people aren't as separate from each other as they used to be,
Yeah.
So what do you feel about the AI world? Is it?
Well, I feel like it's kind of a threat to writers and designers and stuff like that because it like I tried it like I said, I'm so old school, and I tried it. I said I typed into Chat GPT because apparently it recognizes my style. I said, give me a 300-word article on ice fishing for walleyes in Joe Shead style, and it spit this thing out in like 5 seconds. And I read it. I'm like, I wish I wrote that good. I mean, it was impressive. It's like you don't really need guys like me if you can spit that out. But you can always find things that and AI gets smarter. They talk about the putting too many fingers on people. And it gets better. I mean, there's a few things that you could tell that AI didn't understand. Like if you're a true walleye angler, you'd know that wasn't something you do. You won't use a floating Rapala in the wintertime ice fishing for walleyes. Not that that's what it said, but you get weird little nuances like that that they don't quite get it all. But so I don't know.
That's funny. And it is difficult. I spent a little bit of time I wrote for a local Discover Oshkosh for a while. And it's difficult. It's not easy. It's very hard to put what you're trying to say into words.
Yeah.
So then when did I think what you're probably most known for is shed hunting, I believe, I would say.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
But when did that first come to your brain of that book, that thing? Or I mean, obviously you were a shed hunter your whole life.
Yeah.
When did that idea come?
Well, shed hunting, back in the 90s, like when, we were younger and just getting into deer hunting, like back in the 90s, we've seen deer hunting change in our lifetime. Like back in the 90s, like you shot the first buck you saw, there was no talk about passing up bucks and all that. And like, it was unbelievable to me in the 90s that a deer could live long enough to drop an antler because they just don't live that long, And then the whole, quality deer management philosophy, people passing up bucks to let them grow, like that was within our lifetime, within our hunting careers, and one of my buddies in college was big into hiking and stuff, and he would stumble across some antlers and got me interested in it, and just got hooked on it, like just really got into it for a while. And being from a writing background, and it was so new, like, and people are always asking questions like, how do you find a shed? Like it's, and I get flack from people. They're like, oh, you wrote a book. Oh, you just walked through the woods. It's like, yeah, well, you can just go to a lake and just cast into the lake too. But I mean, as you know, there's a lot more to it than that. Like you put together patterns and realize how to find fish or how to find an antler. It's, fish relate to structure. So do deer, So kind of got the idea that, there's nothing out here on shed hunt. Like, deer hunting books, they're all over the place, but there was nothing on shed hunting. And I thought I should write a book. But then I'm like, if I do that, I'm cutting my own throat because, like, you're telling other people how to shed hunt. And, I find most of my sheds on public land. And, when I started shed hunting, there was not a lot of competition. And now I can tell by the way people are walking. If I see boot prints, I can tell by where they're going. I know that that's what they're doing. You can tell. And the competition is so much more than it used to be, 10, 15 years ago. Um, so I really struggled, like, do I write this book or do I not? And I finally kind of came to the idea, like, I have two younger brothers, and like, it was always fun for me. Like, I didn't have a dad that really was into fishing. He was more into duck hunting. So kind of learned fishing, on my own, like kind of how to do it. And anytime I found a little success, like I wanted to show my brothers, like, and that's kind of what got me into fish guiding. Like when I had a good time in the outdoors, I wanted to show other people how to have fun in the outdoors. And so that was one of the deciding factors to write the book. And I kind of also figured, like, if I don't, somebody else is going to do it. So I finally just went ahead and did it. And, it was great. I mean, I got to meet a lot of people through it and taught a lot. I've had a lot of people give me good feedback on the book. Like, hey, some people have said that's exactly what I would have said. And other people are like, wow, I would have never thought of this. And I found my first shed because of something you said in the book, which kind of makes you feel good. So and that came out 19 years ago. And I really haven't updated it. I still sell copies of it to this day. And there's some things in there that are very dated that need to be updated. And I've been kicking around the idea of updating that. And I probably should, but, with the, introduction of YouTube and just stuff online and Facebook and all that, like, that kind of really killed the need for a book. But, back in the day, early 2000s, I sold a lot of those books. And, like I said, I still do, so it's been kind of a fun little thing.
Right. You gotta sell that and put that on as a version on the Onyx hunting app. You can put a little
There you go.
your shed finds
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
So, and then you wrote another book called The Bucktails.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just like, well, like in high school or college, like, I never wrote a 10-page paper. You get assigned a 10-page paper. I never wrote a 10-page paper in my life that was more than 8 pages in one line on the ninth, because I'm not a long-winded writer. I'm pretty direct. So Bucktails it's a 204-page book, and it's just all short stories. It's like mostly magazine stories that have, most of it's stuff that it was published somewhere at one point. Some of it's original stuff that was never previously published, but it's a lot of short stories. And again, that Gordon McQuarrie that I referenced, they posthumously compiled a bunch of his short magazine stories from like the classic magazines, like Vintage Sports Illustrated, Sports Afield, and Fur Fish Game, and that kind of stuff. Kind of combined his short stories into like a book. So that's kind of what Bucktails is, a bunch of short deer hunting stories lumped together.
So going back to shed, what's your favorite shed hunting experience?
Oh
Or your
man,
favorite shed?
that's a good question. It's really hard to narrow that down. I've gotten a chance to kind of shed hunt all over the place and different species and stuff. I mean, I found caribou sheds up on the north slope of Alaska and moose sheds in Minnesota and lots of whitetail and mule deer and elk out in the Rockies. So kind of been all over the place. So I don't know if I could really narrow it down to one.
Well, if your house is on fire, which one you grabbing?
Oh, that okay. That's a good way of putting it. I'd probably grab some of my moose sheds. I did find one really big moose shed that's, that's probably my favorite one, I guess, if I had to think about it. It would be, probably close to Boone Private Class moose shed from Minnesota.
Wow. So you had one that you wrote a story about that was covered in moss. I can't remember. I thought, Memories of a Moose.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you pick that up?
That's funny. No, I didn't. I left it. There was a time in my life where like I picked up every, little piece of chewed up antler or whatever, but now, especially with moose antlers, like they live in such rugged terrain and they're heavy and like, it's like, what do you do? And they're big.
Oops, we lost Joe. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, not to change you, you're still going to hear Joe out somewhere on the line. The video stopped recording. Didn't see that till the end. So if you're on YouTube, you're just going to see a static image of Joe. Sorry about that. I am going to change service over, so the next videos hopefully are much clearer from here on out. So enjoy the rest of Joe Shead audio only, everybody, and thank you.
It just takes up space, and it's like, it's ugly, it's chewed up, it's cracked, it's rotting. Like, what do you do with it? So that moose antler I actually left, and then I came picture of it again, just to see how it had changed or whatever. And the last time I went looking for it, I didn't find it. I don't know if it was because it was under the snow or if somebody else actually found it now or not.
I was going to say, because I read that a couple times, and I couldn't quite tell if you took it or left it. You kind of left it open.
Yeah, I left it.
Oh, I lost your video.
Okay.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, I kind of disappeared there for a second, but I see you right now.
Okay. I don't have you. We'll continue on here. So you get back. When did you decide to start guiding?
In the summer of 2008, when I got laid off, I ended up working on a charter boat in Duluth on Lake Superior, and that was kind of cool, a neat experience. Learned to fish Lake Superior, and then it was funny because the captain I worked for always said, like, man, if you're ever going to be a fishing guy, be a muskie guy, because you don't have to clean any fish, you don't have to get them any fish. Like, if they see a fish, they think they've had a good day. And I didn't really think anything of it at the time. But I got the muskie bug a couple years later, and there was a lake up in northwestern Wisconsin that was just so full of muskies. It was like in the fall, like when the bite was on, it wasn't a matter of if we were going to get one. It was like, how many are we going to get today? And the first guided trip I ever did, my clients landed 5 muskies that day. Like, it was awesome. And that lake has kind of gone downhill since then. But man, back in the day, I realized what I had. I'm like, dude, I could charge people for this and get them on fish, and I still get a kick out of that. Like, it was, a top end muskie out of there would be a low 40s. You're never going to pull a 50, but it was a good lake to bring somebody to. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a muskie fishing, but I don't know. And so before you go buy all the gear, it was a good place to bring them and just kind of show them, how to do figure eights and like on a real fish, and what tackle and stuff to use. So it's kind of a nice way to introduce people to muskie fishing.
And then you kind of rotated out of that into on Lake Superior. Do you still muskie guide, or is it kind of just something you don't do much anymore?
I do a little bit of muskie guiding. I kind of get bored with it. Like, it's really boring for me to sit in a boat, watch people cast all day long, catch just 1 or 2 fish, But like on the flip of the coin, like to go out on Lake Superior, I can sit there all day and just watch those rods, those downrigged rods, just waiting for them to bounce. And it's addicting. And it's just being on Lake Superior is just, it's way different than being on an inland lake. It's just so cool to be out there. I just love it.
Yeah, it's a massive body of water. So I'm going to bounce around a little bit for you here. So, what has been your favorite bait shop you've ever visited?
Oh man, geez, that's a good question.
We always have these romantic relationships with bait shops. Either the ones when we were kids, or just the thought of going to a bait shop with your dad, or picking something up where you didn't have money and thinking of, I get this or that. I just was like, everybody seems like they have a place that they remember.
Well, okay. It's funny because there's this bait shop in Princeton. When I was in high school, we go get bait there, and there's always this one girl that I thought was pretty cute. And then all of a sudden one day, I'm like in high school, and then all of a sudden one day she comes to the counter and she's carrying a baby, and it was like just crushing to me. It's like, oh no, So I remember that. But there's a bait shop in northwestern Wisconsin we went to. This was back in January, and a buddy of mine used to be a deputy sheriff there. So I'd gone in the bait shop there with him years ago, and my girlfriend and I went in there, and it was just the old school, like, tiny little bait shop, wood stove going in the corner, all wood heat, like he should have had a dog laying on a rug there, which he didn't, but it was like he could have been, straight back to the 1980s, and he said, we're buying some minnows and some tackle, and he said, oh, just so you know, we have a weekly ice fishing contest. The biggest bass, northern walleye, and bluegill and perch for the week. Get a small prize. And I was there with my girlfriend, and as soon as he said that, I'm like, we're gonna be back. I just knew it, that she would win, and she got a 9-pound northern that day, and so there we were registering her northern, and she won. So, and the prize was a dozen minnows or a tip up, and she likes hats. So he's got like this mesh black trucker hat with like the gold wings on the front, with his bait name on it, and she's like, see if I can get that. So that's what we got.
Have you ever thought about owning a bait store?
I think it would be awful because you'd have to be stuck inside while everybody else is going fishing. But my girlfriend said she would love to do it because she loves to talk to people. She would rather talk to strangers than to people that she knows. She's like, and she would be very good at it. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we all think about that would be cool, and then you go through actually owning one and having to be there all the time would be kind of miserable.
Yeah. Maybe so.
So now it's time for the lure lipstick question of the pod. Lure lipstick, get hit on. Your question today is, as an outdoor writer, what do you think of the world of influencing, YouTube, and all that stuff? How's that changed your world?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I find it pretty annoying. I see, you scroll through these online fishing pages, and there are so many questions that people will ask a legit question, and everybody's got a snarky comment, and it's like you ask some of these questions, like, excuse me, but some of them I feel are kind of dumb, like very newbie or rookie questions, and like they're looking for like a legit answer, and the problem with it is, one, you're going to get, it's an opinion, and even if people are being honest with them, you're going to get 10 different guys saying 10 different things, but then most guys are just going to give them a snarky answer, and it's like, we're better than that. Like, people just are just so rude under the the cover of being online. It seems very uncommon to actually get like legit helpful answers, although you do see it sometimes, but I think it's just made people kind of jerks, but I do see a lot of good things too. People always posting like, hey, I lost this at the boat landing, could, if anybody found it, and I'll see some of that. So there is some redeeming stuff, but it's a lot of snarkiness online that really doesn't help anybody. It's like, if that's what you're gonna do, just keep on scrolling,
Right. Have you found, as an old school guy, have you found it hard to kind of get with the times? Was it tough for you to go on YouTube, do the Facebook stuff and all that kind of stuff? Is that tough for you, or is it something that you were open to right off the bat?
Yeah, I kind of missed the boat on that. Like, I had a chance when I was like the shed hunting stuff. I was kind of at the beginning of that, and I didn't realize that I should be doing that. I could have been at the beginning of it. Now I feel like I'm so far behind. I was doing a Facebook page. My website, I let my website go and everything, but I had a Facebook page on shed hunting, which I just stopped doing. And it was like, I would try to post something really helpful there, like the biology of the shedding of an antler, or 5 tips to find antlers, or just some quick helpful points. And I'd get like the golf applause, like 2-finger like applause, and then you'd have a picture of a girl in a bikini holding a deer antler, like didn't even know which direction to hold it, and she'd get like thousands of likes. I'm like, I can't compete with that, So I just kind of gave up. But like, I'm like, I don't want to be sitting here every day trying. I don't know anything about algorithms and this, and like I just kind of let it go.
Fair enough. I do have to say though, I have watched some of your stuff, and you do have a very snarky sense of humor.
I definitely do. Yeah.
I do recall a shed hunting wife's guide, I believe it was, where how to treat your shed hunter.
Yes. Yeah.
You may have missed your calling as a comedian. I mean, you very have that sense of just, I don't know. It seems like it's always there in what you're doing, and it just kind of makes me chuckle all the time.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I definitely I don't take life too seriously.
So speaking of that, you have a cat.
Oh yeah.
You have a cat now. A lot of people have cats, but you have a cat that goes. It's kind of like it goes everywhere, kind of like a dog with you.
Yeah, he's kind of getting over that now. He's telling me he's almost 2 now. And he's telling me that was kitten stuff. But yeah, I got him at 5 weeks, and at 6 week I had him out on Lake Winnebagoche, out in Minnesota, perch fishing, walleye fishing, and yeah, he would go in the boat with me and in the tent, and he loves to crawl. I lost the cup holder out of my boat, so he would crawl down inside the cup holder, then through the rod locker and stuff. And now he doesn't fit in there, but so I have to like manually open the rod locker, and he'll get up there. And one day we were out on the lake last summer, and all of a sudden my trolling motor stopped working. I'm like, oh, and I bet you the cat unplugged it. Yeah, he unplugged my trolling motor, and so. But he's I've taken him ice fishing. We had him out on lake. I was ice fishing up by Hayward a few weeks ago, and actually got stuck out there. I shoveled down to bare ice. The snow was real crusty. Shoveled down to bare ice and got stuck. Couldn't get any traction, but I had him along, and I just bought cat litter that day, so I threw some down in front of my tires, and that worked like a charm.
That helps out along.
Yeah.
That's funny. I started seeing this cat on your adventures, and I'm like, huh, that's an odd thing to go about things with.
Yeah.
So what do you decide to write a story about? Or is it everything a story to you?
I mean, yeah, everything is a story, really. I don't know. It's a lot of experiences. Like sometimes something will be happening, like on a deer hunt or something, or catch a big fish. Sometimes, like I'll shoot a big buck, and sometimes I'll know the story right away. Or like a lot of weird things happen to me. Like I'm a guy that gets into a lot of bad situations because I'm not a planner. I'm more reactive than proactive. So I get I just wrote a story for Sports Illustrated a couple of weeks ago about riding 5 miles on a snowmobile with a treble hook in my thumb. And that was the best story. That got the most clicks of all the stories I've had all winter. And it was that's pretty typical stuff for me. Just dumb stuff happens because I wasn't thinking ahead. And it's, everybody that knows me well just kind of knows that that's how I am. But people are very entertained by my antics, and I just kind of go with it. I don't try to have that happen, but it just kind of naturally does.
But obviously you may not plan, but you obviously have the skills to keep yourself alive at the end of the day.
Yeah. I always tell I have another buddy that does a lot of dumb things too, but he's a planner. So I told him that I'm smarter than he is because he should know better, and I just don't. But we've talked many times, like, how are we still alive when we're this dumb, But I don't know.
All right, so now we're going to get into the fishing side of the world. Talk to me about Superior Experience Charters and why is that your favorite thing in the world to do, and why is it your favorite thing in the world to do?
Yeah, no, I love fishing Lake Superior. It's just so cool being out there, and it's just beautiful to be out in the water. And like any other lake, I mean, I love being on inland lakes, but it's so different to be out there. It's big water. It just feels different. I can't sit there. I don't have the patience to sit there and watch a slip bobber, but I can watch downrigger rods all day, and I don't know what the difference is, but it's the same type of thing. But my thing is, there's a lot of charter boats out there, the big 30-foot charter boats, where you go out with 4 guys, and you draw straws, and this guy can catch his fish. You get a fish on, he goes and reels in the fish, and he goes sits down, and he waits for his turn. My deal is I take him on a walleye boat, like they might have at home, and say, this is how to do it. And I'm gonna rig up the lines. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing, and then the next time through, if you want to rig it up, if you want to learn how to do this, you don't learn sitting there watching somebody. You learn I'm gonna make you do it. And I want them to be able to come out there and learn and fish on their own if they want to come out and try it again. And that's kind of my angle at it, and I think people really appreciate that.
That's pretty awesome. What do you think is better, sunrise or sunset on the boat?
Well, anytime you're out there is great. I love the mornings. I am not a morning person, but I love getting up to go fish out in the morning. So I think sunrise for me. Usually I'm limited out before sunset. The best part about being a guide is probably meeting people, and like I said, bringing my brothers out and teaching them and showing them how to have a good time was great. So I love watching people have a good time. I always tell people that there's 2 kinds of fishing guides in this world. There's either guys that really know their stuff and really know how to catch fish, or there's guys that are really good at entertaining people, and I do have a lot of jokes. So,
is there ever been a day where you just like I don't want to do this anymore? Have been those rough days like that, or are you with the way your personality is that just the best part of those days? Are those the best days?
I've only had a handful of bad customers, bad trips over the years where I just couldn't get back to the dock fast enough. But it's been years since I had one, but I did have one this fall where the guy was kind of a know-it-all, and like he was doing the trip to learn. He had a lot nicer equipment than I did, and he let me know it. And he was one of those guys who just felt entitled to everything because he had a lot more money than I have, and he didn't really let me teach him anything. And the fishing was really tough that day anyway, and it was just it wasn't good for either one of us. And maybe I should have handled it differently, but I was kind of at a loss of what to do, you know. And it's very rare to have a client like that. I wish we could have hit it off a little differently, but for the most part, I mean, 90-some% of my customers, you know, whether or not they catch fish or not, maybe they don't all have a good time. I feel like they do, but I'm going to try my best for them. And like there are days we get skunked. I mean, it's fishing, but most days we get into some fish. And, you know, at the end of the day, I want them to catch some fish, but I want them to learn about what to do and a little bit about why the lake behaves the way it does.
Have you ever thought of taking your fishing knowledge and pushing into like tournament fishing, things like that?
No, I don't think I would enjoy tournament fishing. Like I feel a lot of pressure guiding, and I don't do a ton of guiding. It took me years of guiding where I could actually sleep the night before because I would be so worried because like I said, I'm not a planner. I'm not a, you know, the kind of guy that thinks of everything. So it takes me out of my comfort zone because I have to be prepared and I have to double check everything. I got to make sure I've got the gear. Like if I'm just fishing for myself and I screw up, like, well, no big deal, you know. But if I've got clients out there, like I expect, you know, I want to be professional for them, and that's a little bit hard for me to do because of the way I am. But I try my best for that. I finally got to the point where I could sleep soundly before a night of a fishing trip, you know. But I think you know, the whole being a tournament angler, it just takes it to a whole different level, and I think it's too much.
Are you tired of the same old plastic patterns and colors? Well, check out lurelipstick.com. You will find the best hand-painted infused plastics on the market. And the best part, they're made right here in Michigan. New for this year, the Pro Swimmer and Jerk Shad model to go along with the world-famous Split Tail series. Lure Lipstick also has a wide variety of attractants in wax and liquids. And remember, they're the home of the famous perch jelly. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, Lure Lipstick. Get hit on.
I don't think I would enjoy it.
I got you. Yeah, it's weird. I feel the same way about the possibility of getting into guiding. You know, as I get older, I always thought that, hey, maybe, you know, I can retire, you know, fairly early, but then kind of move into like a second career as a guide. But like I find that, like, I don't mind tournament fishing and letting myself down, but letting somebody else down kind of, it doesn't, you know, it worries me.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. Yep, it's a very good point.
So what haven't you done that you want to do?
Oh man, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of places I want to fish yet, you know, and I would love to get out to Cascade Lake in Idaho and do some perch fishing. We're going to, that's kind of the big perch spot right now. We are going to Lake Gogebic in a couple of weeks. Lake Gogebic in a couple of weeks for big perch. So I love big perch, and I cannot lie, I guess. But I don't know. I'm going end of March. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to do some bass fishing on Lake Okeechobee down there, and do some ocean fishing. This is all through Sports Illustrated and Academy Sports. So I'm going to be checking out their new fishing rods. So that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to doing that. But I don't know. I'd love to go do some more, you know, Canadian fishing. I got a chance to do some grayling fishing in Alaska, and I just like being up in the Arctic and stuff. And I'd love to do more of that.
Is there a story out there that you want to write that you haven't wrote yet that you're?
Well, To be honest, in fourth grade, we were supposed to do a story on goals. We were learning about goal setting, and my goal in fourth grade was to break the Wisconsin state record Northern Pike. And I would love to write a story about the day I do that, but I don't know. It's an uphill battle there.
Have you, in your journeys of fish catch, because I know we talk a lot about fish, we don't talk about really the size of fish. What has been your greatest catches, or a good catch that you're super proud of?
My greatest catch by far was I caught a lake trout on Lake Superior a few years back that was doing the length girth estimate. We estimated about 37 pounds, and that was probably my fish in a lifetime. And now there's a guide out there who's sorry, I was trying to charge my phone a little bit. There's a guide out there who's kind of got it figured out how to catch these big lake trout like that, and he's catching fish like that fairly routinely. But that was my fish of a lifetime. So that was, your average lake trout's going to just kind of skip right in. That fish was in 50 feet of water. You can see 25 feet down. It took me 11 minutes before I could even see that fish. So he was the boss. What is your favorite? I mean, you said you love being on Lake Superior. What is your favorite fish to chase after? Oh man, I really love everything. I do have a passion for big perch. I love pike. I kind of got burned out on muskies. Walleye has been fun as I've gotten older because I didn't really grow up fishing walleyes, so it was kind of a challenge for me. Still is. But I do, I guess okay, if I had to pick one, it'd be ice fishing for coho salmon, where you can sight fish them down the hole. I think that'd probably be the number one.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What's your favorite thing to write about?
I like to write funny stories, adventure stories. I don't know. I wrote one recently. Well, I wrote one a while back about the etiquette of how you should behave when you're getting towed, when your boat's getting towed by the Coast Guard or Search and Rescue. And it was all very tongue-in-cheek, very snarky, but I thought it was pretty funny.
I did enjoy your one on how to fish with a woman.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting to me. I thought it was rather funny. I'm like, now there's a story we all got to read.
Right. So I sent that to my girlfriend, Tashina, and she's like, okay, so some of these things make you kind of sound like a jerk. She's like, this is how I would rephrase it. So I went with her suggestion so I didn't sound like a complete ass. But
that's funny. Yeah, it's snarky stuff is pretty funny. So in the world of this random fishing, where do you sit on the live scope world? Obviously we're older, so I know you didn't grow up with any crazy electronics, things like that. Where are you at? Did you ever think we're going to get here? Do you think how much farther we'll be in 5 years?
Yeah, so I've never used live scope, but I've kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I'm going to have to start using it just to keep up with the Joneses type of thing. So I don't know. I mean, I know Minnesota's talking about going from a 6 walleye limit to a 4 walleye limit, and I'm sure there's been no biological reason for it yet. But I think the idea is that as people get better as anglers with the technology, that it's going to hurt the population more. So I think we're kind of heading in that direction.
Do you ever? Okay, first of all, what's a story? Have you wrote a story that you never released that was too damning to self or something, whatever, that you said I should keep it, not put it out there?
I'm pretty loose-lipped with my stories, but I wouldn't say that, but I've definitely left out some details or changed the name of a lake or something like that. Yeah.
Well, do you worry about criticizing? I know you don't do much of it, but like the DNRs in Minnesota or Wisconsin on those lines, does it ever bother you to do that, or you're just gonna have at this is my story right now?
Well, for me, I'll do a lot of stories where I have to interview a biologist for a story or something like that, and I've always thought that these men and women are people that they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to protect our resources, and I'm 100% on board with that. But So I generally I'm pretty supportive of what they're doing. There have been some things I've disagreed with. Some of the times, like they'll have a proposed rule change where I'm pretty sure they already have it all in their head what they're going to do, but then they open up to public comment just because they have to when they already know what they're going to do. So I do feel about that a little bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty supportive of what they're doing. Like we definitely need a voice to protect our fish and wildlife.
For sure. What do you think is the number one issue in Minnesota right now?
Oh, well, I mean, the whole walleye thing is a pretty hot thing about going from 6 fish a day to 4. People are pretty uptight about their walleyes, you know. So,
Yeah, they are.
but the whole mining in the boundary waters is another big thing right now too. So that's been going up back and forth for a few decades now. But there's a vote just passed the House to kind of take away some protections that have been installed there, and I mean that's just an incredible area, just wilderness area, beautiful lakes and stuff. So that would be a really scary one.
Do you feel like a Minnesotan being from Wisconsin, or are you always a Wisconsinite?
Well, people have said that I'm more of a Minnesotan than a Wisconsin just because of the way I act. You know, I still love to give them crap. You know, unfortunately for me, and I hate to say this, but I'm a Chicago Bear fan. So everybody hates me. So, but I do give the Minnesotans a hard time because my roots are in Wisconsin, and Minnesotans, I don't know, they're just. I feel like they're a little behind the time. Well, they're 10 years in statehood behind Wisconsin. I feel like they're still a little behind the time. So
well, that's funny too, because where you live, although it is Minnesota, I kind of feel like it's Minnesota light.
Yeah, it is. I can literally, what did Sarah Palin say? I can see Russia out my window. I can see Wisconsin out my window. I can see across Lake Superior, Wisconsin.
I always thought that. I'm like, well, you don't really get by the Twin Cities. You kind of go north out of Duluth as you move to Wisconsin. It's kind of like saying the Upers from Michigan. I kind of feel like, I feel like we're more Wisconsin than they are Michigan.
For sure.
All right, so I got a one for you here. You can only go fishing one more time. Where are you going? What you doing? And what you taking?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I would probably go ice fishing on Lake Superior for coho salmon, and I'd probably take some friends along, some good close friends, and I don't know. And the other thing, kind of unrelated, is like as we get older and people talk about cancer and death becomes more real. I always used to joke that if I ever get forced to go into an old folks home, I'm just going to wait for a strong east wind, and I'm going to go for one heck of a boat ride on Lake Superior. And the older I get, the more I think that that's just not a joke. Maybe that's really what I'll do.
Yeah, it's interesting as we age up here. Is like you put in your priorities of what you want to get done and what you want to fish for and all that kind of stuff. It gets a little different than it was back in our 20s or 30s when you feel like you kind of cut down of all the fat off the sides and really focus on what you really love to do.
Yeah. You just got to do it. Like, you can be sitting in an old folks home someday thinking, man, I wish I would have done that, and you just really got to go out and do it.
Right. Well, Joe, thanks for being on. I've always really enjoyed your stuff, and I had no clue the amount of places that you were published in. I knew you were in a bunch, and some come to the house, and I spin through the Wisconsin Outdoor News to make sure I read if Joe's in there, and some other places. But so it's always been awesome. I believe, and I was talking to Kathy, as my wife is also a classmate of yours, and we believe you might be the most famous person in our class.
Oh man, maybe infamous. I don't know.
Because I can't. And I'm like, well, she's like, well, how do you describe fame? I'm like, I don't know, but like more people have read and seen Joe's work outside of our hometown than anybody else that I can think of.
Okay. Well, cool.
And you got 2 books in your name, and you have a little mini shed series.
Yeah. So,
So,
all right.
um, but yeah, I definitely enjoy having you on. I'd love to have you on in the future again, talk stuff. And I think we got to get out and get to some fishing together one of these days.
I would really love that.
My boat actually came from Lake Superior, so I
Oh, no
bought it off
kidding.
a guy at Lake Superior. The first time I drove it was on Lake Superior, just kind
Cool.
of an ironic fact. But yeah, it was awesome catching up with you. I look forward to talking down the road, and thanks for being on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
No problem. If you're looking to be on an episode of Walleye Chronicles, hit me up on my socials at Smilin' Fish on TikTok or Matt Snell on Instagram and Facebook. And remember, the merch drop is coming, and so keep an eye out for that, and we will hook you up. See you down the road. And that concludes this episode of the Walleye Chronicles. Thanks for sticking around through the technical difficulties of that episode. Joe's an awesome dude. It sucks it happened in the episode, but note, I will make sure do all the things I can do to make sure it doesn't happen. Also, want to announce our cool new partnership with Lure Lipstick. Mike and the boys over in Michigan, awesome product. You've seen their stuff like crazy. They're the home of the log perch pattern, the hand paint, everything. So if you see log perch and it doesn't say Lure Lipstick on it, don't buy it. It's not them. Also, they have waxworm and perch jelly. Perch jelly, pretty awesome. They got regular pheromone scents and liquid, and my personal favorite is this little wax guy. It's super easy to put in your pocket and have no issues with it. One thing that's awesome about Lure Lipstick, as well as I can continue to interview who I want. It doesn't matter if a competing company or whatever. Mike wants you to make sure the content stays real, so it will stay real. Remember, if you can like and share wherever you see this, it really does help. So whatever platform you're watching or listening to me on, like, share, put a comment. Even a bad comment helps me. So remember, there's two things you can do every day to give somebody a great time. One is give them a smile. Two, take them fishing. And remember, we'll see you down the road.
Are you tired of the same old plastic patterns and colors? Well, check out lurelipstick.com. You will find the best hand-painted infused plastics on the market. And the best part, they're made right here in Michigan. New for this year, the Pro Swimmer and Jerk Shad model to go along with the world-famous Split Tail series. Lure Lipstick also has a wide variety of attractants in wax and liquids. And remember, they're the home of the famous perch jelly. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, Lure Lipstick. Get hit on.